My name's David Coleman, and I lead a nonprofit in New York City called Student Achievement Partners. And my team was very involved, along with many others, in the development of a body of academic standards for students called the Common Core State Standards. These Common Core standards were developed to solve two important problems in this country. One of them is our students now need to compete not just within the borders of their states, but across states, for college, but also for jobs. And the competition for jobs is now an international one. And so the first thing that happened with the Common Core Standards is the nation's governors got together and felt that we needed a new body of standards that truly prepared kids for the 21st century and to compete in an international environment. The second command the governors made, they met together and they said, these standards also must truly make our students college ready. That is, today, many of our students complete high school in this country and they're not ready for the demands of college. And that's why they have to go to remediation courses, and that's why almost 50% of our students in many areas go on after passing high school exams to need catch-up or remediation courses in college, and that is a trap from which very few of them escape. So my team, together with many others in a process led by the National Governors Association and the Council of Chief State School Officers, developed a set of common standards that met international benchmarks to the highest standards in the world, as well as were designed so that all our students could be ready for college and career. So 48 states worked together on drafting and developing those standards. And those standards, called the Common Core State Standards, have now been adopted by 45 states in the country as their own. So for the first time, states have put aside their differences to adopt a common body of standards to prepare their students for the rigor of college and career readiness. I'm here in Hampton Roads, Virginia today to talk about those standards. The academic standards are not in history or science. They're in literacy and mathematics, in the core areas of reading, writing, and math that are so essential to preparing our kids to be ready. It turns out, when you look at that evidence, that the most striking fact about math is the countries that are most successful in the world in mathematics actually focus on far fewer things and do them better. So what the core math standards do for the first time in America is provide a math curriculum that is focused, in depth, and coherent. That is, in these high-performing countries, they really focus on the math that matters most, which includes a mastery of whole numbers, their operations, multiplication, division, subtraction, addition, and then the properties of those operations as they develop, and then in 3rd through 6th grade, moving into fractions. And it turns out that a mastery of fractions, being fluent in them, being able to apply them and understand them, is perhaps the single most important predictor of being ready for algebra in grade 8, which is a very important thing in mathematics. So it turns out that there's a core in mathematics around numbers and measurement, particularly in kindergarten through 8th grade, and then gradually in fractions, proportions, and algebra, that is essential to all later math. You might see it as the trunk of a tree or the handle of a fork. And what the core standards do is give teachers the time to teach and students the time to practice the math that matters most. In literacy, the core standards respond to a huge body of research that shows that our students need to focus on evidence when they read and when they write. Far too much writing, particularly at the high school level in America, focuses on a narrative of your personal opinions or your personal experience, when instead the focus needs to be what you can argue using evidence or to convey complex information clearly. It's important for our students to succeed in literacy that they build knowledge when they read from the earliest grades. So the core standards insist that students are reading equally about history and science as well as literature, so they build a broad knowledge of the world, and this continues in 6th to 12th grade. So at the heart of these core standards is shifting the work of teachers, of students, to what matters most for their preparation in their future, and doing it in a common way across states. I believe strongly, and all of us involved in the Common Standards effort believe overwhelmingly in Virginia's continuing right to decide whether or not to adopt the Common Core Standards. Virginia has very good standards today, and in fact, we drew on them extensively in developing the core standards. We hope that the state of Virginia will gradually look at the evidence behind the core standards. Today, Virginia has not chosen to adopt the core standards. It's one of the 5 states that has not adopted the core standards. But we hope that Virginia will draw upon the evidence we've gathered to improve instruction today, and perhaps at some point decide to adopt the core itself. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to www.corestandards.org.